Number 10. Black Cat. Black Cat is only rounding out the bottom of this list because she is so ever changing when it comes to her alignment and so much more complicated of a character to be considered either a hero or a villain, really. But she definitely is a very capable and dangerous criminal, when she needs to be, or when she wants to be, which is why she still makes the cut. When it comes to going up against Black Cat, odds are good you probably don't want to. In fact, she might not even be someone you want as an ally, considering that Black Cat could in fact be ready to double cross you at a moment's notice. Felicia Hardy is definitely one of the most dangerous thieves around when it comes to Marvel Comics, making her one of the publisher's most deadly, sometimes villain. Number 9. Bloodlust. Bloodlust was one of the villainesses that ended up joining the Femme Fatales. The Femme Fatales were an all-female supervillain group who were for a time working alongside Superior's Femizons in a plot to take over the world. She would end up being a mutant who lost her powers on M-Day, but when she did have them, they were very similar to Wolverine and X-23's. Bloodlust, whose real name is Beata Dubiel, actually predates X-23 in terms of her first appearance. Pretty cool facts. She first appeared in the comics in Marvel Comics Presents in 1990. After she lost her powers though, she became a skilled assassin who fought with small, stiletto-like blades. Powered, Bloodlust was believed to be as strong and deadly as Wolverine. Depowered, she was still a skilled enough fighter to give Domino a run for her money. Before we move on to our next number, just a quick reminder to give this video a thumbs up if you are enjoying it. It really does help us out. Number 8. Emma Frost. Emma Frost is only ranking solo on the list because she is a reformed villain now in the comics, but that doesn't mean that she is any less deadly now that she is a hero. As a villain, she managed to swap bodies with Storm and infiltrate the X-Men. As a mutant and a person, Emma is so skilled and so badass that she even manages to use other mutant skills better than even they can. Like when she swapped bodies with Iceman and showed him up. Beyond that though, even just as a woman, not even considering her especially strong diamond form or masterful telepathic powers, Emma is pretty remarkable and dangerous. She's just a powerhouse who knows how to bargain when it comes to business dealings and relishes the power she wields as the White Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company, and formerly the Hellfire Club, because that's what the trading company used to be. But anyways, now the Hellfire Club is a bunch of kids that are villains, so modern time comics. Number 7. MINDBLAST. We are going back to the Femme Fatales for a little bit here. This member of the team was actually first introduced in the 90s in Amazing Spider-Man issue 340. She is not only a mutant but also a cyborg. Her mutant powers grant telekinetic abilities which she can use to fly and manipulate other objects. In addition, she also possesses the power of telepathy via her cybernetic enhancements, which grant her telepathic shielding and allow her to create quite convincing psychic illusions. Convincing enough to lure some of the X-Men, including Psylocke, into a trap. Which in my mind, if you're tricking Psylocke with like telepathic illusions, you're pretty good. Number 6. ELEKTRA. ELEKTRA is one of the most skilled and dangerous women out there, both when she's acting as a villain and when she's acting even as a hero. Like Emma, she also ranks a little bit lower due to the fact that she is currently attempting to prove she can be good and operating under the codename Daredevil. So not super villainous right now. However, part of the appeal with ELEKTRA is while an ally to Daredevil, she has never been completely good and in general is considered as more being a villain than a hero. Initially, she didn't possess any powers but was an incredibly skilled fighter, assassin, and ninja. Since being resurrected by the Hand, however, she does have some powers. She can low-key possess other people's minds, using this to track down her targets. It's also been revealed that she has other mental and telepathic abilities and fighting techniques. Gotta love those mental fighting techniques. Mental screams. Ah! This is why I should never get any kind of sonic scream, because I would just sound ridiculous. Not my mutant power. Okay. Number 5. CANDRA. CANDRA is part of the Externals and as such has spent a good amount of her comic book history being a pretty powerful villain. The Externals are immortals who can't be killed, except on the rare occasion when they can. Because comics. And because I mean, hey, every character has to have a weakness. For Externals, they can be killed by having another external kill them if their hearts are consumed by said foe. CANDRA is an immensely powerful telekinetic who also possesses some telepathic abilities, but she is also just deadly because of how ruthless she is and because of all of her connections, because she's so old. She not only is powerful in her own right, but also holds sway over other powerful mutants and allies. By the way, externals are different from eternals, in case you were wondering, though both are godlike but in different ways. And both are from Marvel, which is confusing. But yeah, externals, eternals. Number 4. Veranki. Queen Veranki is the main antagonist of the Secret Invasion storyline. Disguised as Spider-Woman, she, along with many of her undercover Skrulls, managed to infiltrate and, in secret, invade Earth. Hence the name of the story, Secret Invasion. Veranki is less about killing and more about conquering, but usually when it comes to conquering a planet, you're probably gonna have to break a few eggs. And when I say break a few eggs, I mean kill a few humans. As a Skrull, Veranki is capable of shapeshifting. She also can employ a special Skrull ritual in order to grant herself the memories and powers of those she is impersonating. And of course, as a queen, she also has armies at her beck and call. Or she did, until she was ultimately defeated and killed by one of the most evil characters in Marvel Comics and one of the most deadliest male villains, Norman Osborn. Also, where's my deadly male villain list? Number 3. MADELYNE Pryor. Also known as the Goblin Queen. MADELYNE Pryor was a pilot in Alaska who won Scott Summers' heart in part because, well, she looked exactly like his thought dead ex-teammate and lover, Jean Grey. Nothing gets someone going like being like, wait, you look like someone that just died that I was in love with. Oh, I'm so into this. I'd be like, I'm so traumatized by you, I definitely don't want to be around you. But hey, to each their own. It was later revealed to comic readers and Maddie herself after she married Scott and had a child with him that she was in fact Jean's clone, created using a piece of the Phoenix Force by Mr. Sinister, as part of a plot to create the perfect mutant, her son, baby Christopher, who'd grow up to become Nathan Summers, aka Cable. Mr. Sinister intended to steal the baby for himself and then destroy Maddie, having no further need for her. That's so rude. When she discovered she was Jean's clone and that Sinister was her creator, she ended up suffering from a mental break that in essence turned her evil. She made a pact with a demon and planned on sacrificing her son and other children in order to gain power, but ended up being stopped by the X-Factor and the X-Men teams. She has been thought dead, and actually dead, a few times in the comics, and made a recent return in 2020's Hellion series. And then we all realized, oh yeah, we totally forgot that MADELYNE Pryor is still alive and has been for a while. I'm sorry. I feel bad for her. She returned as a villain once more, and after her return was shortly thereafter defeated and is now presumed dead. But only time will tell if that remains true. Number 2. Harpy. And more specifically, Red Harpy, as you may have noticed from our thumbnail for this video. Harpy is basically the evil version of Betty Ross, Bruce Banner's love interest and ex-wife. Harpy came into being when MODOK used gamma radiation to transform her into a winged monster, who would make a pretty fitting opponent for the Hulk. Her exposure to gamma radiation not only made her the amazingly strong green monster known as the Harpy, but also drove Betty insane, making it easy for MODOK to manipulate her and use her to do his bidding. After becoming Red She-Hulk, we'd later also see an even more horrific version of Harpy when Betty returned as the immortal Red Harpy. Harpy in general is considered to be one of the strongest villains around and is strong enough to take on the Hulk face to face in a fight. One-on-one. She can also heal, fly, and possesses razor-sharp claws and talons. Number 1. Saturnine. That's Magistrix Opal Luna Saturnine to you. Also known as the White Witch, Saturnine is likely one of the most deadly villains on this list, considering just how powerful she is, and just how unpredictable she is. Of course, you still have a chance of getting past her if she happens to be in a particularly good mood. The thing about Saturnine is that she isn't outright evil. She's more of an all-powerful character who becomes a powerful villain simply because she wants to have fun, or because she wants something that others refuse to grant her. She can be both a powerful ally and a powerful enemy, but you definitely do not want her as an enemy. Trust me. Saturnine is a deadly magic user who comes armed with the magic of Otherworld, and as the Omniversal Guardian and Magistrix is basically god level when it comes to the mischief that she is capable of. Number 10. Sapphire STYX. STYX. Sapphire STYX was a mutant villain powerful enough to turn Wolverine unconscious with her life-threatening powers. Her abilities allow her to steal the energy and life force of those she makes physical contact with, typically through kissing them. Kind of like Rogue, but without the power and memory absorption, and if she leaned into the harmful elements of her powers a little more. Sapphire did just that, and it is implied that she has been able to stay healthy and young for hundreds of years using her mutant ability. I love when we have like mutant vampirism. I love those powers. It's also believed she is powerful enough that she could use her mutant ability to kill her victims depending on her target's power level and resistance, of course. In the end, she was defeated and killed by Psylocke, who used her powers to avenge all the souls that Sapphire had ever drained, shattering her. Psylocke then used Sapphire's soul energy to rebuild her own body, becoming Betsy once more. Number 9. Knockout. Knockout has only made a few appearances in the comics since her first appearance in the 90s, but she is still a pretty deadly female villain and is super badass. She has worked within both the villainous supergroup of the Femizons and the Femme Fatales. More recently, she was seen once again fighting alongside the Femme Fatales. Knockout is a mutant whose powers are enhanced strength, endurance, and durability. She's a skilled enough fighter that she was able to make quick work of Mutant Rogue when she faced her briefly in Hunt for Wolverine, Mystery in Madripoor. Number 8. Lady Mastermind. We could talk about both for this point, but I've decided to focus on Reagan Wingard, who popped up in Dawn of X, as opposed to Martinique, who is also the daughter of Jason Wingard, aka Mastermind. Mastermind OG. Even when it seems like Reagan has not been strong enough when it comes to her mutant powers to achieve the desired effect on her victims, she has proven skilled and resourceful enough to find a way to push through any mental blocks or willpower that those she targets possess. Her mutant powers allow her to create realistic illusions that in fact can even trick your body into responding to them as if they were real, meaning that her illusions can actually kill you. Yikes. Unlike her father, her powers also do not require her full and devout concentration to work. Lady Mastermind's illusions will persevere even if she goes unconscious, which is pretty powerful. She's basically like way more powerful than her dad. And before we move on to our next spot, time for the most YouTube of moments where I ask you to kindly click that like. Pretty please? Number 7. Yelena Belova. Yelena Belova has always been the rival to Black Widow since way back when she was training in the Red Room Academy. She always aimed to be the best of the best and was driven crazy by her obsession to become the best operative out there. Belova at one point had her face swapped with Natasha's against her will, so that Nat could prove a point to her, basically that being a spy wasn't that great, to help convince her to come over to the good side of things, sort of. Belova will likely play a much less villainous role in the MCU, but in comics she has often been known as an antagonist to Black Widow. And she also has been Black Widow before. Although she is usually manipulated into being a villain, and the most evil thing about her is generally her competitiveness with Natasha, which we've already seen will be addressed in the Black Widow film, just based on the trailer. Belova has also acted as an ally to Natasha on occasion as well, despite the fact that she has lots of reasons to hate her. So yeah, it depends on what you're reading. She can be a villain, she can sort of be not really a hero, but an ally. She can be a hero in her own way. Number 6. Lady Bullseye. Maki Matsumoto is known for being one of the fastest fighters around. She is both believed to be faster than the Kingpin and Bullseye, who inspired her to become a killer under the same mantle, and Bullseye, who in fact inspired her to become a killer under that same mantle. She was saved by Bullseye when she was a little girl, who the Yakuza intended to sell for their own means. Bullseye, however, was tasked with wiping out those who would be responsible for her and many other victims' sale, and killed them before they could do so. Lady Bullseye is a skilled fighter, trained in wielding many different types of weapons, and proficient in many different kinds of martial arts. Oh, she also is apparently a lawyer, or at least understands law well enough to pose as one. She's both worked with Kingpin and successfully defeated him in combat, which I think is pretty impressive. Kingpin is not an easy person to defeat in a fight. Number 5. Titania. Titania is Mary McFerrin, a girl who was known for her small stature and often mocked for it when she was young, and aspired to become something greater than what she felt she was born into. After being offered powers by supervillain Dr. Doom, she was transformed into the powerhouse known as Titania. Titania has been shown to be skilled and strong enough to defeat a whole wheelhouse of powerful superheroes, including Luke Cage and Iron Fist, as well as The Thing and Mr. Fantastic. She's also kicked the butt of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, is faster than a speeding bullet and Mjolnir itself, and can take a direct hit from the mythical hammer and be left completely unfazed by it. Now, some of this went on while her powers were boosted admittedly, but either way, Titania is not a villain you'd want to face in a fistfight. I would not want to face her in a fistfight because my face would get punched into the next, into the nega zone. I'd be gone. You'd have no face left. Yikes. Number 4. Madame Hydra. Madame Hydra has close ties to quite a few superheroes and other famous villains, and we also for a time have known her under the codename Viper, which is also very important indeed given her obsession with snake venom in addition to other toxins and poisons. Madame Hydra's legal name is Ophelia Sarkinson, and like her codename implies, she is often known for being a ruler of Hydra and as a member of their High Council. She has close ties to Jessica Drew's Spider-Woman, who she has fought against and also sought to re-recruit, Wolverine, whom she was married to, and obviously Captain America, because Hydra. So yeah. As I said, Madame Hydra is fond of poisons, toxins, and venoms, and as such generally employs them for use as weapons through projectiles and even her lipstick. She also possesses near toxin immunity, which she obtained through frequent and carefully measured exposure. I wish that was true. What if you had actually, isn't that kind of how allergies work? Can't you be exposed to them in small amounts and then you can overcome your allergy? I don't know if that's true, but that might be true. It might be science. Don't try that if you're allergic to something and you die. Don't do it though, because I think then it doesn't work. Number 3. Moonstone. Like many of the deadliest and most villainous women in Marvel, Moonstone is really just a woman looking to put herself before others. She's always out to get what she needs first, which generally makes her a villain. But there have been times when Carla Sofin has both posed as a hero and also truly tried to be a hero. She was part of Baron Zemo's Thunderbolts, built out of his Masters of Evil team, and rebranded and disguised as superheroes, following the apparent destruction of most of Earth's heroes by Onslaught. Following this, the Thunderbolts did attempt to truly become heroes under the leadership of Hawkeye, whom Carla started a relationship with. Moonstone was also the Miss Marvel equivalent to Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers team, acting far more villainously once more. She can manipulate gravity, making her super powerful and allowing her to basically augment much of her own abilities, including durability, strength, and speed. She can even turn herself invisible using her gravity manipulation, and she can teleport. Number 2. Mystique. One of the deadliest women out there when it comes to female villains has got to be my girl, Mystique. The best thing about Mystique too is she's really a relatable villain because a lot of times she's kind of just looking out for number 1, herself. Wow, did I just say she's relatable and then I talked about how selfish she was? I think people are all selfish to an extent, which is true. I think we are all selfish at times. And sometimes Mystique also just behaves evilly to look out for those she legitimately cares for, like her now dead wife Destiny and their adopted daughter Rogue, whether or not Rogue actually wants her help or protection. And so that is definitely relatable, I think. Looking out for other people, even sometimes when people are like, I don't want your help, and you're like, well, I'm still gonna help you because I love you. Her shape-shifting powers means that she can pose as pretty much anyone, and her skills in disguise and impersonation help to smooth over these appearances, allowing her to even move and act like those whom she adopts the identity of. Not only that, but Mystique is a skillful fighter and manipulator, so she's not someone you want to get on the bad side of. Trust me, other people have, and they have been backstabbed so many times, their back is basically like a knife block at this point. Yikes. Number 1. Hela. Hela is one of the most deadly villains when she wants to be. Like Mystique, Hela isn't always a villain. She's not inherently evil, but is capable of great evil if it is something that is needed for her to get what she needs or wants. As the ruler of Hell, she is immensely powerful when it comes to her magic and her physical strength as well. She's also a necromancer, being ruler of Hell, though she isn't someone who enjoys torturing the souls over which she rules or manipulating them into doing her bidding, unless, once again, it serves some greater purpose for her. Still, Hela is not someone you want to get on the bad side of, and more recently as we've seen her ally herself with Thanos, we've seen an even more malevolent side of her. So many deadly women and women who even rule over the dead.
10. Amanda Waller. She doesn't even have superpowers, but she is a power all on her own. Nicknamed the Wall, she is a government official who will do anything in the name of national security. I'm talking breaking the rules, killing people, even killing innocent people. She is the commander of Task Force X, aka Suicide Squad, a supervillain team that performs special operations under her command. She has a brilliant tactical mind and is ruthless and disciplined, bending supervillains to her will to get her work done, but she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. She once even uncovered Batman's secret identity. She might not be the deadliest DC villain by a pretty wide margin, but there are a whole host of DC villains that would say she's plenty deadly. It's this ability to get superpowered villains to do her dirty work that earns her this spot on our list. Number 9, Catwoman. Coming straight from the heart of Gotham City, Selina Kyle has had a varied origin, but she always ends up becoming Catwoman. In more recent years, she shows up more as a helper to Batman than as an enemy, but she is one of Batman's original villains, and for good reason. She is in peak physical condition and a nimble acrobat as well as master thief, sometimes even using literal cats to help her in her schemes. She might not have super strength or energy manipulation, but she is still a deadly foe, a skilled martial artist, stealth expert, and has considerable skill with weapons, including firearms and swords. Number 8, Cheetah. A much more intimidating cat, Cheetah has had a bit of a legacy, and there are a few different versions of the character. The most recent iteration of Cheetah is Barbara Minerva, who just recently appeared in DC's Wonder Woman 1984. A skilled archaeologist and linguist, she has a keen interest in the lost culture of the Amazons, and she actually helped Wonder Woman learn English when she first came to the United States. Dr. Minerva has made a pact with a god, transforming her into the cheetah with superhuman speed and all the deadly attributes of a feline. She battles with the inner turmoil of resisting her animalistic rage and predatory fury, and was once friends with Wonder Woman, at least in her human form. She was once busted out of jail by the crime syndicate and recruited onto their team. After a while, she led her own team known as the Menagerie, who terrorized New York from their hideout in Central Park. Number 7, Punchline. Also called Alexis K, she is the Joker's new right-hand woman, as Harley has a lot going on right now and the two aren't really on speaking terms. She was a student at Snyder College and encountered the Joker while on a field trip to a TV studio. Joker hijacked the studio and Alexis was forced at gunpoint to act as the newsreader, delivering Joker's message to the citizens of Gotham. After this encounter, she became obsessed, starting a podcast about the Joker and poisoning the people around her to try and get his attention. She eventually kills her college dean, proving herself to the Joker, who taught her how to create a modified form of his Joker venom. Link in the script there. She goes on to help Joker in his war against Batman, eventually having an epic showdown against Harley Quinn and Batman. She wields a couple of daggers and holds her own well against Catwoman and Harley. Number 6, Silver Banshee. First appearing in Action Comics number 595, Silver Banshee is a villain with sonic powers who frequently goes up against Superman. She was once insanely powerful, but has sort of been dumbed down a bit over the years. It's just how it goes with these supervillains sometimes. But in her youth, she was dragged into the Netherworld during a supernatural conflict as family stuff, and granted superpowers by a creature called the Crone. She is initially controlled by the powers like a curse, but later overcomes it with the help of Supergirl. They become fast friends and get to know each other pretty well. The two later hang out in a bar together, and it's totally lit. They're having a great time until her dad, Black Banshee, shows up. Luckily, the two of them are able to defeat Black Banshee together. Silver Banshee is known for her ability to learn language instantly, and more importantly, this crazy power to just make people die by saying their name. It's sort of like the Black Canary's canary cry, except the Banshee version, and it instantly kills you. Number 5, Blackfire. Blackfire is the older sister of Starfire from the Teen Titans. She often appears as an adversary of the Titans and is extremely powerful, outmatching the already astounding Starfire in battle. She can absorb ultraviolet radiation and transform it into deadly bolts she calls black bolts, and can even change radiation into energy, giving her superhuman strength and endurance. She is especially powerful, capable of interstellar travel and flight in space. It's kind of the same thing. She appears in Red Hood and the Outlaws number 11, where she fights alongside her sister and takes down the Blight after they capture Roy Harper. It's an epic team up and a great reunion for the two sisters. Number 4, Mary, Queen of Blood. Mary Seward is the Queen of Blood, appearing in House of Mystery number 290 in 1981. She once had a lover named Andrew Bennett, a decorated nobleman who was bitten and turned into a vampire. Mary begged Andrew to bite her as well, hoping that the two could spend eternity together. However, Andrew resists the vampiric bloodlust while Mary embraces it and becomes a ruthless killer. She forms a cult called the Blood Red Moon, and Andrew hunts her across the centuries trying to stop her. She once turned an entire temple of monks into vampires, but they rather impressively resist the bloodlust through mindfulness and meditation. She has a crazy host of powerful abilities, including psychokinesis, transformation, regeneration, superhuman strength, not to mention immortality. As long as she has a steady supply of blood, she is extremely powerful, and I'm sure it's easy for her to get more. Number 3, Killer Frost. Killer Frost is just a classic deadly female villain, an icy-hearted femme fatale who will literally suck the life out of you in a heartless attack. There have been multiple iterations of Frost, always iconic and always super powerful, having once even sold her soul to become more powerful. She has been kidnapped and forced to work on the Suicide Squad, and once even worked alongside Batman. Caitlin Snow is the newest Frost, a scientist who is tricked by Hive and made to die in a staged accident, but she instead survives and gains her ice-based powers. She is not made of ice, but instead generates organic ice-like cells that make up her entire genetic makeup. She is a heat vampire, absorbing the body heat of others to kill them. Number 2, Enchantress. Also known as June Moon, Enchantress gained her powers from an immensely powerful being and almost immediately winds up battling against Supergirl. She later joins the Suicide Squad as Amanda Waller agrees to help her control her evil Enchantress side. She can manipulate energy, heal, and even teleport. She once took on Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Superman all at once, and has defeated other villains as well. Her powers have gotten kind of erratic and unpredictable since June Moon and Enchantress became separated from one another, but she has still demonstrated some impressive raw power in her villainous career. She is capable of flight, necromancy, and possession, elemental control, and even resurrection, but only if the corpse is fresh. If it's not though, she can always use the necromancy. Number 1, Evil Supergirl. Lex Luthor had an evil scheme that basically caused all of this. He created a black kryptonite energy ray, which he used on Supergirl, hoping to corrupt her. Instead though, the ray generated a second, dark version of Supergirl. This dark version had similar memories and experiences, but believed that she was sent to Earth to kill Superman. And as you can imagine, she's crazy powerful. She goes on a rampage using her Kryptonian powers, causing tons of damage, and even taking down Black Canary and the Flash before finally facing off in an epic battle with Superman and Wonder Woman. Evil Supergirl is likely one of the most powerful villains ever, and it's actually Wonder Woman that brings her down in the end, catching both versions of Supergirl in her lasso and merging them together back into one.
Number 10, Malice. From Marvel, there are multiple characters who have held this name. The first 2 Malices were Black Panther villains attached to Killmonger, but the version I'm going with is Sue Storm's evil split personality. Sue Storm is the 4th incarnation of Malice, the 3rd was a Ghost Rider villain. So Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, was manipulated by the Psycho Man into having the negative aspects of her personality manifest. You know, the bitterness of the years of neglect from Reed, and also her miscarriage. At the time, her second child, that pregnancy had not come to fruition. This would be later semi-retcon and they would succeed in having a second child, though it would be difficult, and this would be Valeria. However, Sue was very hurt by all the things that were going on. Slowly she began to change. Her powers were upped and she began to use them more offensively. She also changed her name from the Invisible Girl to the Invisible Woman. She also got a sexier costume, and well, the people weren't having it cause she was a mom after all, and moms aren't allowed to be sexy. Marvel is a no MILF zone, or rather tasteful MILFs. Honestly, part of the Malice explanation came in response to her costume. A boob window, cleavage at all? A lot of this could have been explained as her anger and her grief, but no. Also, Reed slapped her across the face after playing into her insecurities that he is well aware of, but at the time was just choosing not to be a better husband. This is to snap her out of it. Now, Sue Storm is attractive no matter what, but Malice had all that evil going on. Sue still fights her in her subconscious sometimes, but we aren't getting that boob window back. Number 9, Lady Deathstrike. Do you like your ladies enhanced, murderous, out to kill? Then introducing Lady Deathstrike. She first appeared as Deathstrike in Alpha Flight number 33 33 back in 1986. Before that, her first appearance just as a character was in Daredevil number 197 back in 1983. Her original name was Yuriko, and she hates Wolverine, and her hatred of him drove her to become Deathstrike. Though this was after she had first tried to take him down. She was enhanced on Mojo World actually. Deathstrike has a dangerous thing going on, but still with plenty of cleavage. She'll kill you, but you'll get a nice view while it happens, and that's what matters. In all seriousness, she's a cool character, and the design is cool. The giant fingers, the samurai inspired garb, it's a look. Some say she's just a female Wolverine, but to them I say how dare you. That's X-23. She's managed to find her way into adaptation, and her vengeance and rage will make her a character remembered for years to come. Number 8. Nocturna. So Nocturna had two origins, one pre-crisis and one post. The pre-crisis is from Batman number 363 back in 1983, and post-crisis is from Robin number 100 in 2002. Both versions dummy thick. One of her aliases is Mistress of the Night. She's a very blink and you'll miss her type of character. I mean, when you come back as a villain for Tim Drake in his solo outing, that's bound to happen. She was actually supposed to be adapted into Batman the Animated Series, the seminal series from the 90s, however she proved too risque. This was because she was going to be a vampire. They approved of the hot model, that's a quote, but the bloodletting and showing blood and showing Batman lusting for blood because he was going to turn to a vampire briefly in the episode, that was too far. It was a kids show, and at the time showing blood was still a taboo. Now they show blood all the time. Still, no matter the era, one of the focuses was always on how hot she was. She was also friends with spoiler Stephanie Brown. That's not saying that is a spoiler, that was her name. She's not really a huge focus, but come on, people want their thirst. Little vampire pun for you. Number 7. Scandal Savage, a recent addition. She first debuted in Villains United number 1 in 2005, created for the supervillain team The Secret Six. She's the daughter of Vandal Savage and some Brazilian woman, and she's a lesbian. I'm not just bringing that up to bring it up. Her creator Gail Simone brings it up all the time. And in 2005, it was a big deal. She has the deadly skill set, the costume with the crop top, making it fashionable for this era, the cleavage, the peekaboo mask. Scandal was an interesting character. The whole Secret Six was a fun comic that brought out the best in its characters. It gave the world a credible Catman again, and a cool Deadshot. It was going places, but it was sadly swallowed up by the New 52 reboot, and Scandal kind of fell by the wayside. Gail Simone got swept up to write Batgirl and retconned her legs, which she was long salty about, then moved on. Scandal, easily collectible in a few trades. Number 6. Cheetah. Arguably the most well-known Wonder Woman baddie, Cheetah has something for all the furries out there. I'll take this list places. You want hot, I'll give you all the hot. Kelly is scripting hot men right now. I believe I heard her call Wolverine a tiny knuckle of muscle. Now what you may not know is that there have actually been 4 cheetahs. We're going to be looking at the 3rd cheetah, Barbara Ann Minerva. She debuted in Wonder Woman Volume 2 number 7 back in 1987. Before that, Cheetah was just a woman in a costume. Amateurs. Her origin is actually pretty tragic. She was an archaeologist who took part in an ancient ritual as she believed she would gain immortality. It involved a female cheetah guardian. She drank human blood, ingested the berries of the plant god, Cartaga, which I had to pause to say, it's quite the name. But here's the thing, the ritual was supposed to be done with a virgin, and well, she wasn't one. This resulted in her part transforming in a way that was part curse and part blessing. So she was left in pain in her human form and with a crazed bloodlust in her cheetah form. So she was doomed to wander in this way. Obviously, she chooses her cheetah form far more often because she doesn't want to be in pain. My question has always been, where are her nipples? I mean, I know why they're not there, censorship, but it was always weird to me that you don't see the nipples. I mean, on furred animals you can see them. They should be there. Or they should just give her a jumpsuit. Oh look, they gave her a jumpsuit. Also, there is a male cheetah, but this is not hot male villains. No, get out of here, Sebastian. Number 5. Silver Sable. She first debuted in The Amazing Spider-Man number 265 back in 1985. She is not Black Cat. Sometimes people mix the two up because they both have white hair and they just assume that somebody got a costume change. No. Now she can be an anti-hero, but is most often a bit more on the villain side. Do you like the 80s? Do you like headbands? Do you like a woman who shoots first and asks questions later as long as you're not the one being shot? Then get excited. Silver Sable actually has an annual diplomatic dinner with Dr. Doom. Their nations border each other. Hers is Symkaria. She does all that she does with no superpowers. She hunts Nazis but will also kill for money. She was inspired by a pack of Safari cards that the editor Tom DeFalco bought, so her team was called the Wild Pack. She was popular enough for a time to be adapted into the 90s animated Spider-Man series, but over time she's kind of faded. We have other hot lady mercenaries, but you needed to know about Silver Sable. You're welcome. Number Number 4, Typhoid Mary. She is genuinely an awful villainess. She first debuted as Typhoid Mary in Daredevil number 254 back in 1988. She's kinda sympathetic, we'll get to it. She started as a Daredevil villain and would expand to become a Spider-Man and Deadpool one as well. She raped Deadpool, never forget, I certainly haven't. She was a former lover of the Daredevil and has some low-level psionic abilities. Typhoid Mary is genuinely unstable, and she was actually created accidentally by the Daredevil when he was trying to take down a brothel and was stunned when the woman in it attacked him. He accidentally knocked her out of a window, and so she vowed never to let a man hurt her again. In fact, she would hurt them first. Typhoid Mary has ranged and has multiple personalities, with the Typhoid one being one of the most aggressive. She also kills domestic abusers, only the men though. Listen, she's genuinely bad, but they always draw her super hot, so hottest. I mean, when I did Scary Aliens, you all didn't want to believe Starfire was scary because she was too hot. Well, Typhoid Mary is hot too. Are you gonna take the risk because she's got a two-face thing going on? Just so aggressive in this video. I'm really passionate about evil hot women. Number 3, Giganta. Are you all here for the Vor? The giant lady? Do you like a lot of women that you have to look up to even to see her waist? Well then, here comes Giganta. She first debuted in Wonder Woman Volume 1, number 9 back in 1944, and was created by William Moulton Marston, so you know that there was some level of kink involved. The man liked what he liked and wanted you to know about it. She was an ape who was mutated into a beautiful and giant woman. This was her first origin. Her newer origin is a bit more complicated, but still involved a gorilla and mind transference. Here she eventually transfers herself into a strong woman named Olga, who has size-changing abilities. People are into Giganta. She's been adapted numerous times. I found her through the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Number 2, Nightshade. She first appeared in Captain America number 164 back in 1973, and used to be called Dr. Nightshade and Deadly Nightshade. Discovering as a young girl that she has a knack for science, she decided to use it for evil. She focuses on creating a werewolf army. Yes. And you know what she's got going on? Pheromones. She could use them to control men through science. She forced Captain America to fight Falcon, and also just help her in general, but he resisted real hard. She has also created a serum to turn men into women, and as always she is on that werewolf army game. Capwolf. She's a mad scientist who loves bikinis and thigh-high boots. She has more of a costume now, but she's still out there manipulating to get what she wants. These old panels, I love them so much. Exploitative? Hell yeah. The confidence to wear that? Envious. She can turn a man into a werewolf and then just head straight to the beach. That's convenience. And number 1, Star Sapphire. I'm talking about Carol Ferris. Again, there have been multiple Star Sapphires, but we need Hal Jordan's waifu for lifeu. Make this the cringiest video of all time. She first appears as Star Sapphire in Green Lantern Volume 2, number 16 back in 1962. At first she is chosen by the Zamorans, enemies of the Guardians, because they want to prove that men are inferior. Her costume evolved into one of the deepest V-necks of all time, and got even more hilarious when the emotion spectrum started and every pink, or I'm sorry, violet lantern had that costume and they were all ladies. They try to explain this as, oh, anyone can join, but most men are not worthy. Okay, sure Jan. I demand Kyle in this outfit. The world needs it. Officially, not just as fan art. Look it up. It exists. Star Sapphire is a hero now for the most part, but for a while she was a recurring villain and the persona was buried deep within Carol's mind. These costumes, they're a look. Charting their evolution is a trip.